So I'd like to introduce now our moderator, Randy Gragg. Randy is one of the top creative minds in our region, and many of you know him from his writings and design and architecture. He's the director of the University of Oregon's John Yeon Center at the School of Architecture and Allied Arts. And that's a vital regional resource devoted to inspiring thinking and public dialogue about design and conservation. And that's what we're here to do tonight. We're going to talk about the design and the features that went into the creation of that beautiful Tilikum Crossing Bridge of the People. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Randy.
On? Can you hear me all? Yeah. Okay, can you all hear me? So thanks for braving the president's visit and getting down here. So tonight we turn to the architect and the two engineers who have conjured our first new river crossing since the Fremont Bridge in 1973. And what is easily our most sumptuously detailed bridge, I think, the Tilikum Crossing. Among our goals here tonight is to shine some insights into bridge design in general, to give you a leg up at the next cocktail party you're at, maybe a little later tonight, in terms of what's really cool about this new bridge, and to prove once and for all that engineers are not boring. So.
We'll see.
I put the challenge out there. So I want to introduce our panelists. David Goodyear, on the far end, is a pioneer in cable-stayed bridge design and construction. He has more than 36 years of experience in design and construction of concrete, steel, segmental, and cable-stayed bridges. He's the engineer of record for the Mike O'Callahan Pat Tillman Memorial Bridge at Hoover Dam, which we'll see a little bit later, the Crooked River Bridge in Redmond, Oregon, the Port Mann Bridge in Vancouver, BC, and David was elected to the National Academy of Engineering in 2013, very prestigious. Simone Trager is the Vice President and West Division Director of Bridges and Tunnels for HNTB. He is one of the firm's foremost experts on seismic design and retrofit of structures. Simone has played significant roles in the Tacoma Narrows Suspension Bridge, the Alsea Bay Bridge, the Gerald Desmond Bridge in Long Beach, and the Great River Bridge over the Mississippi River in Arkansas. And Donald MacDonald has been designing bridges for more than 3 decades, among them the Cooper River Bridge in Charleston, the Golden Gate Bridge seismic retrofit, very nicely done, and the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge. I like my microphone, just one off.
You're off.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Let's see, the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge, East Span. He's also the author of books on the history and design of the Golden Gate Bridge, the Bay Bridge, and Alcatraz Island. So I thought before we got to our discussion of Tilikum Crossing, it would be nice to begin with a sampling of these designers' past work, because these guys have done some stuff, some really important bridges. And so I've asked them to share some insights into what specifically they did on each of these bridges and what makes them special, in a word, beautiful. So we will begin with one pretty close to home, the Alsea Bridge. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Alsea Bay Bridge is very, very close to my heart. It's the first signature span bridge I was design manager on. And it was very intimidating even to start this process because it was a replacement of the bridge designed by Conde Makula. Conde Makula, in my opinion, is one of the best bridge engineers of the last century. He designed numerous bridges up and down West Coast, and replacing the bridge designed by him was a great honor. I believe the bridge turned out really well, is well loved by Walport and Newport community. And another remarkable thing that happened to me, I met Dave Goodyear at this bridge for the first time. I was a lead designer, and Dave was doing, I believe, his first construction job with you. You'll tell better than me.
Yeah, I worked for the contractor, General Construction, that built the bridge, and so it was quite a challenge to build, and we had quite a bit of engineering to do to get the bridge up. So I don't know if you want to flip to the next slide. If you see, that's Semyon's masterpiece. Flip to the next one, and we get to some of the construction. We actually kind of decoupled the bridge in order to build it. The contractor at the time was owned by a New Zealand contracting company and in New Zealand and Europe actually, they have some very different construction methods than we typically use here, and we exercised one of them here. So we actually built the lower part of the bridge and had forms actually run through the bridge. But Semyon's comment about replacing Condon McCulloch's bridge, one of the things that was noteworthy at the end of the construction of Alsea Bay, where we had the celebration, is there was actually an old engineer and contractor type that worked for the state of Oregon and lived up on just upriver, overlooking the hill, or on a hill overlooking the bridge. He was one of probably your antagonists when you were originally doing the design. He didn't want to replace the old bridge.
That's correct.
But he came to the bridge opening and he, with a big smile on his face, and he said, Condon McCulloch would like this bridge. It's a very nice bridge. So they won him over. Here's the method. The way it was built was just sliding these forms across the bay. It was quite a novel. There's actually only been 2 bridges built like this in the United States, one up in Washington and the one down here at Alsea Bay. The hardest part about building it was actually holding the wide leg piers up until you get the bridge there. So we had a pretty novel method of building them separately, and had to have them up there for the traveler to go by. So it was quite an exercise. If any of you saw it out there, it was quite a production.
Okay, Simone? This is the 6th Street Bridge in Los Angeles, which hasn't been built yet.
No.
But it's going to be something. Designed by Michael Malson, who won an international competition for it. Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about it, Simone?
Yeah, sure. This is kind of this is the bridge I'm working on currently as an engineer of record. We won it through an international design competition. That's what City of Los Angeles wanted. It was very extensive competition, very difficult and very costly for us. But it's a remarkable bridge that would be a centerpiece of Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a huge city, but doesn't have actually bridges, a single bridge. It would be recognized by, so the goal was that the 6th Street Bridge would be the bridge the city is recognized by. It's the bridge, it's actually, it's called a bridge, but it's a viaduct. It's 3,500-foot long viaduct, and it made of the chain of 10 consecutive arches. It's concrete arches, which is also remarkable. The arches change the shape and inclination to the ground. That kind of gives it a very nice play architecturally. The slide you see right now, 2 of the arches have stairs on them, so kind of similar to what Sydney Harbor Bridge has. The people can walk on a bridge, and we will also have the staircase that take people up and down to the arch rib so they can walk on the deck or walk on the arch. It also has a very extensive pedestrian and bikers facility similar to Tilikum, and we have beautiful helical ramps to take the bikers on and off the bridge. Now the bridge is, it's getting close to 90% design at this time. Construction of foundation construction is going out as a separate package, and contractor is supposed to start foundation construction in September.
Okay, David.
So the byline is the spirit of details. This is actually a detail from the Hoover Dam Bypass Bridge. And when we design bridges on the engineering side, at least, we look at the system performance and how you make the system function efficiently and with high reliability. But once you establish the system, there are always 2 or 3, 4 details that are critical to making the system work. This is one of them from the Hoover Dam Bypass, which is a connection of the deck to a cross frame at the top of the columns. which has not really been used before in the United States. It's been used a little bit down in Australia. But if you go to the next slide, that detail sits atop of each of these columns. The columns on the bridge, both the spandrel and approach columns, are very tall and flexible enough that without the deck on top, you could push them over with your hand a couple inches. The taller ones, they're 300 feet tall. So the purpose of that detail is the entire deck spans from rock to rock on the ends of the bridge, and the deck actually braces the bridge. Usually you have the bridge below brace the deck. And in our case, we would have needed cross bracing in the columns, which we didn't want. So we designed, when I laid this out, I wanted no X bracing between the columns, so we created a diaphragm with that special connection so that the deck itself braces the bridge below. This is the construction was like a cable-stayed bridge. In fact, my mother was thoroughly disappointed when they took the cables down. She thought the bridge looked a lot better when the cables were up. But we built the bridge as a cable-stayed bridge, actually using the same techniques that we used here. The difference is, if you go to the next slide, it shows it better. The way the bridge before it closed was cantilevered out. We did not have what's called post-tensioning, which we have a lot of in Tilikum here. This is one of very few cantilever constructed bridges in the world that doesn't have pre-stressing in it. This was all just mildly reinforced. But of course, the reason we didn't want it in there is once you close this, make this final closure in the arch rib, you don't need pre-stressing anymore. You have huge compression in the arch. So it was an exciting bridge to build. Standing on top of the rim, the canyon rim before the bridge was built was pretty awe-inspiring, and it was quite dicey to see. It wasn't me, but somebody else went down and dug out those springings on the side of that cliff. And it was very impressive work, so it was a fun bridge to build.